case you missed it, I posted on my Instagram earlier this week, over the weekend, that I saw Beyonce for Cowboy Carter tour, not once, but twice, which was amazing. I would literally not change the experience for anything. It was so perfect. But I did get a lot of questions about the experience and about my process of like deciding why would you choose to spend so much money on a concert. I've always been the type of person who has said like concerts are not my thing, which is still true to this day. I'm really not much of a concert person, but I'm a Beyonce person. I love Beyonce's music. So that's a little bit different for me, at least personally. But I got a lot of questions about it because I made a post talking about the process, like the journey of me going from wanting to experience a live Beyonce concert and not being able to, whether it was because I was still in debt or because I had prioritized another big financial decision instead, or, life was going on and I couldn't make the dates work until finally getting a chance to go in 2025. So going all the way back to 2015, I was still teaching, or like I was working in public schools in New York City, and I really could not afford to like to get tickets to Beyonce. And at that time, I think it was the Formation tour that was going on, and everybody was, posting the Formation tour pictures and Snapchat on Instagram and TikTok. And I was like, you know what? I really do want to go, but at the same time, I had promised myself that I wasn't going to make any big, like random expenses like that unless I paid off my credit card debt. And I didn't pay off my credit card debt completely until October of 2015. So it's pretty much the end of that year when I finally was able to make my last credit card payment. So all that to say that from 2015, and honestly it was even before 2015 when I really wanted to see Beyonce in concert, because she did the Beyonce experience way back in the day, and I remember really wanting to do that one, but I was like fresh out of college, really didn't have money. So this goes back so long, more than 10 years ago, me wanting to experience Beyonce's performances in person. But again, like my finances were just not in a situation where I could justify doing it. Now, a lot of people will still just go. They will still spend the money, $1,000, 400, $500. I know personally some teenage girls who have spent $4,000, $3,000 to go see Taylor Swift. People will do these things. Me personally, I had made a promise to myself that I was not going to do anything rash like that until I finished paying off my credit card debt, until all of my debt was gone. And then I could, treat myself or stray from the plan, right? And so I bring this up because I feel like a lot of people are expecting the results of a financial transformation or a financial journey to happen much faster than is realistic. So I just wanted to talk about that. I posted this already on my Instagram with a bunch of different photos from throughout my process. So going back to 2015, and I talked about how, look, this is a marathon. It's not a sprint. If you're expecting to sprint your way and to like use intensity to get the results you want, stop yourself from that mentality, because the truth is consistency beats intensity time and time and time again in so many different aspects of our lives. But specifically when we're talking about our finances, it's going to be a long journey, whether that's saving up for a big goal, whether that's paying off debt, whether that's trying to improve your credit, whether that's trying to hit six figures or a million when it comes to investments. All of these things take so much time that you're going to have to be in it for the long run, which means you got to keep showing up and doing these consistent small things over time, over and over and over again, even when it gets boring, even when it sucks, even when you hate it, even when there's something fun that you want to do instead with your time and money. You have to keep grinding and staying consistent to your plan if you really want to achieve the results that you say you want. And I think that's what makes it so hard for us as humans to really actually achieve big goals in life. And also when it comes to finances, to achieve financial goals without incurring debt. So I do really think this is kind of like, I would say a mini lesson really is like going back to 2015 when I really could not afford to go. I could have easily made the decision to just put the tickets on a credit card. Like I had multiple credit cards. I was paying them down little by little. I had some available credit. I could have just put the concert on my credit card and came and like slowly just added more to my debt and paid it off in a longer time. But the whole point of me making a promise to myself was to prove to myself that I can be disciplined, that I can show commitment, that I can be consistent, that I care more about my own personal financial transformation and me getting my money right more than anything else. And if I would have taken that credit card and bought those Beyonce tickets back then, in 2015 when it was the Formation tour, sure, I could have done that. But what does that say to me from me? What am I saying to myself? I'm saying to myself that I'm not keeping a promise that I made to myself, right? I'm teaching, basically training my own brain to believe that I'm not good enough to stick to my own word and my own promises to myself. If I can't keep promises to myself, how am I going to keep promises to other people? So it's really was a lot of like me kind of trying to train myself to become the person I want to be too. And I think that's a lot of what I learned from financial discipline, is also just like discipline for self-development. If you say you're going to do something, if you're going to, you say that you're going to continue to show up to work towards something, be about it, do it. Don't just talk about it, but be about it. And so for me, it was really important to not cheat, so to speak. Don't cheat, don't break the rules that I created with myself. It was more so just like a pact that I had with myself. But the point was, I stuck to it through 2015. 2018 came and I planned a trip early in the year with my niece to go to Thailand. Spent about, I mean, I don't know, a couple $4,000 on that trip. Don't regret it. I absolutely had the best time ever. But right away when I got back home, I was like, oof, okay. So now I need to like work back to putting that $4,000 back in my savings. And I also have to like make sure that I pay off all of these credit cards from the trip within the month, because I have not carried interest credit card interest from one month to the next since I paid off all my credit card debt in October of 2015. And I again promised that I made to myself never to go back into that cycle of paying interest to credit cards. So because I was trying to be so disciplined and really keep my word to myself, I didn't like move forward with tickets in 2018 either, because I had already spent a bunch of money on a trip. And then in 2023, I published my book. I did a book tour. I had a multi city tour around a couple of different places throughout the country to target Black and Latina women who are not yet investing but have a high income. And where's the gap? Like you have you're a high earner, but for some reason there's a gap where you're not investing yet. And so we're just trying to empower women, answer their questions, help them feel educated to then actually become investors, right? That was me traveling a lot through 2023. I mean, I was in DC, I was in LA, I was in Miami, I was in New York, I was in Houston. Like I went to a lot of different cities, and I feel like for that tour, like a lot of the dates were overlapping with a lot of the performance dates from the Renaissance tour, which I really wanted to go to, but that didn't work out. So finally, 2025, I had to travel for work to Charlotte, North Carolina, and the weekend right after that trip was this past weekend, the last weekend in June. And I saw that that was exactly when the tickets were available for Houston, Texas. And I know that that's Beyonce's hometown. So I was like, man, that's going to be so amazing if she has her opening night, Saturday night in Houston, in her hometown. She's probably going to go big because she's coming home. It's her homecoming. And if I could get tickets for that night, if I could make it work. So because I was traveling for work, my flight to Charlotte, North Carolina, and from Charlotte, North Carolina, are both covered by work because I'm traveling there for work. So that was beautiful because when I got to Charlotte, my flight was covered, my trip was covered, I was there for work. And then when I left, instead of going home to Miami, where I live, I booked my flight from Charlotte to Houston. So the flight to Houston was covered by work. And which amazing was like right away, it was amazing because that means that the money that I would have normally spent to get my flight to go to the concert, I wouldn't have to spend. So I could either pretend I did buy my own flight and put that money towards a ticket, or just like save that and not have that expense. So I started looking at tickets for that Saturday, and the floor tickets were probably like $2,000 at the cheapest, like that were really close to the front of the stage, and I didn't really want to spend that much just for me. So, and I was traveling with my niece, so I was like, okay, let's like try to go like one section above the floor seats. So we did one section above the floor seats. Those were like $400. We got those tickets instead. And then the trip ended up becoming this whole weekend thing, which was really cute because it wasn't planned that way initially. It was just supposed to be my niece and myself. My other niece ended up coming, and their cousin from their father's side of the family, which is not my side, but all of four girls ended up making this trip, and it was so much fun. And we went on Saturday night, which, if you saw it in the news, that like Beyonce got stuck in her car, in like the car. There was a malfunction with the car that was like supposed to be slowly moving throughout the stadium, which it was. But then at one point, it just stopped and it started like tilting, but it didn't tilt immediately. It's not like the car was like this and then it just fell like to the angle, like to in one moment. It was very slowly tilting slowly while she was singing and performing, until one point, at some point, eventually, like you just noticed that the car was like almost 90 degrees, not actually 90 degrees, but pretty close to like straight a full tilt. And so at that point, she was wrapping up 16 carriages, which is the song that she was singing when she got in the car. And she sang the entire song perfectly, perfectly with no mistakes, made it to the end, finished her performance. And as soon as she hit that last note and ended the song, she said, "Stop, stop, 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 stop." And so that was like the moment that went viral where you see them bringing her down. But she was so poised. She was so professional. She did not break. She really, truly, she just smiled. She was waving at everyone. I could tell physically that her body, she was uncomfortable because she was like, seriously about to slide off the car. But she just adjusted her feet and her legs at one point in the car, in like inside of the prop car, so that she could be more comfortable. She put like her feet, she moved her feet to the edge, to like a little corner where she could like prop them and lean up against the car. So once she did that, I could tell, okay, she's a little uncomfortable, you can tell. But slowly they started bringing the car down and they brought it to a section where there was no like concert goers in the seats in that part. And finally, like when it touched the ground, all the security escorted her straight to the stage, and she just kept going with the show. It was so beautiful to see her not make this a big deal. She said thank you to everybody. She didn't say, "I'm so sorry, I'm sorry." Like, she didn't say any of that. She just said, "Thank you for your patience." Then when she got back up on stage, she said, "Thank y'all for loving me. And if ever I were to fall, I know y'all gonna catch me." And everybody laughed and we just clapped and cheered. And she just kept going. She's like, "I got one more song for y'all. We're gonna wrap up tonight." Like, it was so beautiful. And like, to me, it was like echoing the same message that I've been saying, which is like, you see her now and you say, "Dang, like, she's such a professional. She's so poised. She's so classy. She handled that perfectly." And it's like, yes, but that has been decades in the making. Beyonce started performing when she was a freaking baby, when she was like 9 years old, right? Even younger than that. So to see her artistry and like her craft at this high level now, we a lot of people will take it for granted and say, "Oh yeah, she's such a superstar, of course, blah blah blah." It's like, no, that's just the tip of the iceberg, which you get to see. But what you're not really seeing, what you're not acknowledging, is all the practice, all the rehearsals, all the work she had put in, all the vocal lessons, all the dance routines, all the practice, all like, there's so much going on for decades, not for weeks, not for months, not for a year or two, for decades, in order for her to be able to produce, put together, envision, execute, and perform this entire tour, not just one night for 3 hours straight, but multiple nights back to back, plus all the dates in the tour. So, needless to say, I could go on and on and on about my experience at Cowboy Carter. It was amazing. It was worth all the money. That Saturday night was awesome. And then I was a little sad because it was so far away from her, like from the stage, because we ended up getting the seats up high. So that next morning on Sunday, it was the second night in Houston on the 29th of June, and we were at brunch. I was at brunch with the girls, my nieces and their cousin, and we're all hanging out talking. And I'm like, I'm so curious if she's gonna use the car again, that prop in her show. Probably not, right? So we're all talking about it. And I'm like, oh, just out of curiosity, I pull up the tickets and I look, and I found tickets for $500 on the floor for each of us. And I was like, you know what? This is one of those things where like $2,000 is not going to make or break my financial situation right now. Like, I have it. I wouldn't normally or typically like spend it like that, but in this case it was a weekend trip. I wanted to treat the girls. I wanted to go and experience it again, and I wanted to get closer. I want to be on the floor this time and have that like VIP experience. So I got the tickets for night 2. The cutest thing was we all came prepared with like our little costumes and our outfits for the cowboy theme, but we spent so much time hanging out, talking, having drinks, and crafting. We just busted out arts and craft supplies, and I made the hats that each of us were wearing. They were covered in denim. And that, even just that, was like, sure, we saved a little bit of money that we could put towards the tickets, right? But it was actually just more so the quality time that I got to spend with my nieces, that we got to hang out, we laughed, and we made these beautiful hats. Like, if you don't follow me on Instagram, go check out my Instagram, because I posted on Insta like the hats, and people were like, "You should be selling these. These look so professional. You did such a good job." And I'm like, well, for those of you who read my book or have been following me for a long time, you know that I call myself the DIY queen, because I taught myself to sew. I know art. I do a lot of arts and crafts. I know I'm really good with artistic projects, but that definitely was like a level above what I usually do. We took a few hours to really work on those hats and like make them look really, really good. And the girls helped me at the end, because we were racing against the clock to try to get out the door to park the car in time and get to the concert on time. So I was really rushing. But it was the best experience. It was amazing. And the financial lessons that are in there are like, money is a marathon, it's not a sprint. Consistency beats intensity every single time. You can go so hard on your budgeting or on your, minimizing expenses and all of that for a short period of time. And then if you're done and you're over it and it's not sustainable, again, not going to lead to success. So the consistency piece of it is what matters so much. And so in my mind, as I was thinking, looking at the tickets, I'm like, okay, this is kind of ridiculous. Like, I'm really going to spend $2,000. But then in my mind, I was like, yes, yes, I am, because that is why I work my butt off for the past 10 years to put myself in a situation financially where a couple $1,000s will not make or break my situation, won't break the bank for me at all, like literally at all. And that's a beautiful thing to say, and it's an amazing place to be financially, because I've been in way worse places and there's so many people who are in situations where a few $1,000s could literally transform their financial situation. So I understand that I'm coming from, it's a luxury, it's a place of privilege, but I have worked my butt off to get here. And I'm like, you know what? The girls deserve to go for a second night. Like we like all really wanted to do this and have a good time together again. So I don't regret it at all. And I would do it again. And I want to do more of this. Like, I'm kind of putting myself in this challenge, in this mindset of like, how many more opportunities like this can I do? One a year, two a year, where it's a splurge, but it's not just for me to show off that I was on the floor for a Beyonce concert in the front row. It's so that I can treat people that I love, like, being there with my nieces and a cousin and having that experience. Like, they're never going to forget that. And I modeled for them being the responsible rich auntie, and they're going to want to now be the responsible rich auntie when it's their turn to be able to treat their nieces and nephews or their own kids without it putting a dent in their financial situation. So I feel like it had all these little meaningful like aspects to it for me personally. And maybe that's just me rationalizing in my head that I bought us tickets and spent $2,000 when we already went to the show and had already spent money. But the point is, personal finance is personal, and I've gotten to the point where I can make decisions like that. And again, it's not going to break my finances, right? So I think at the end of the day, wherever you are in your journey, consistency is everything. Stay consistent with it. And if you're already feeling like you're burnt out in your journey financially, it's time to reassess. It's time to recreate a new plan. It's time to reevaluate, pivot, go to a route that is sustainable so you can be consistent with it. Because it doesn't matter how hard you go right now in the short term if you're not going to sustain it in the long run to actually get the results you want, to generate six figures, to generate $1 million, to get your first 5-figure month, to whatever this goal is that you've set for yourself, or bigger goals even. The point is, you really have to be consistent in order to even see or achieve those results that you want. So that's my little Beyonce story, my Beyonce experience. I absolutely loved it. I posted pics on my Instagram. I posted a bunch of stories, and I talked about, like, my journey to be able to get to a point where this is something I can do, that I really appreciate and I don't regret, but also many sacrifices that I have had to make over the past 10 years to get to this place. One last quick story, and then I'm going to take questions because I see a couple comments and questions in both on Instagram and on YouTube also. But one quick thing I will say is that when I came back, I didn't fly from Houston back to Miami. I flew to New York because I had a couple of events here, and then 4th of July is coming up. So I wanted to spend time with my family. So I'm in New York right now. I'm literally in my childhood home, which is why I'm like literally sitting next to next to a random bed in a random empty room. But when I got here, I went straight to an event in Manhattan, and I bumped into some of the girls that I used to hang out with when I lived in New York City. And we started chatting. And one of them was like, I'm so inspired by your content. Like, I keep seeing your stuff on social media, and it's like so inspiring because we used to hang out all the time in our early 20s in the city. And we used to, be like young, wild, and free. And now to see where you are financially and to see your journey, how you've come, how you've grown your business, how you've written your book and published it, it's amazing to see that. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I hear you, but I also think that you don't like just attribute it to like this overnight success. Like, I think intimately how much of a hot mess I was when we were in our 20s. And so that the transformation was, it took 10 years. Like, it's 2025 right now. This has been 10 years in the making, more even. And she was like, yeah, but even just the Beyonce post that you put up that was like in 2015, then in 2018, then in 2023, and then finally in 2025, you were able to get the tickets. She said, when I saw that post, it gave me chills because what my initial thought once I saw it was, wow, I am not where I want to be financially. She said that she hasn't been able to max out her Roth IRA. She hasn't been able to hit six figures in her 401k. She hasn't yet been able to like completely eliminate all of her debt, all of her consumer debt. And yet she was at the Formation World Tour. She was at the On the Run tour. She was at Renaissance, and she went to Cowboy Carter earlier this year. She has never missed out on a Beyonce concert experience. Yet, financially, she's not where she wants to be. And so when she saw that post that I put on Instagram where she saw, like she swiped back and saw every time I did not go, every time that I did not do the thing that I wanted to do, every time that I deprived myself from an experience that, yes, I wanted in that moment, but was it necessary for me to experience that? No. And she realized that she herself has lacked the discipline. She has not been real with herself, giving herself that tough love, that pep talk of, you don't need to go do this. You already did it before, and you know you still have debt. So you shouldn't be doing this until you commit to doing what you said you were going to do. And she hasn't had that tough love relationship with herself. She lets herself off the hook. She spends here and there. She'll be like, oh, I need to treat myself. Oh, it was a rough week. Oh, my boyfriend and I, we just broke up. So I just need to treat myself. I just need to get that off my mind. Whatever thing she's experiencing in life, she used it as a reason to slack off from her goals financially instead of a reason to fuel her to recommit and stay committed and be more consistent. So I just was like, I told her straight up to her face, I was like, thank you so much for telling me this, because it's one of those things where I didn't even realize that it could affect you that way. I thought it was just going to be like a little inspiring post for people to see, like, yeah, it's a journey, it's a long process. I never thought it would really make somebody so self reflective to see, wow, like literally those things that she's saying she deprived herself of, I did every single one of them. Even when I shouldn't have financially done it. And now I'm not where I want to be financially. Like it's like when you're a little kid and you play like those games where you like connect the dots. It was literally her connecting the dots through her own life and the choices that she has made, and how that is literally the direct reason why she's not where she wants to be financially. And I mean, I don't know. I'm gonna have to check in with my girl. I'm gonna have to check in with her in a couple months and see if it really was the transformative like experience, like the epiphany that she needed, or if maybe she was just like, I don't know, maybe she was just talking, just trying to gas me up. I don't know. But I have a feeling from the way that like our conversation went that she was really moved, and that I think she's serious about really transforming her financial situation and committing and getting serious. So we'll see. I think that that was just like a really cute anecdote. And when she told me that, I was like, wow, like, damn, that's crazy. You literally are here drawing, connecting the dots to why your situation is what it is. And it's not to blame yourself or to feel bad about yourself. It's just that now you know better. And now that you clearly see what the pattern is with your behavior, now it's your job. Now you're tasked with making a change because you see what the pattern is. Now you have to break that pattern. Otherwise, you're going to continue. You're choosing to continue it when you say that you don't want to. So if you're going to align your actions to your words, you have to cut the pattern. You have to literally interrupt that pattern. So I thought that was really like inspiring back to me. She said I inspired her, but really she inspired me when she gave me that story and that feedback, because I never really thought about it that way, where you actually go through each post and say, wow, like these are the things I did and this is the reason why I'm not where I want to be. So hopefully that post that I shared and some of the things I mentioned in this video can be a little bit of an inspiration to anybody out there struggling financially, because just scroll back through some of my old videos and you'll see it has not always been like this. I have not always been, and even now, like, yes, I'm in a situation where I can spend two or three or $4,000 and it's not going to break the bank, but I'm still not at a point where I own a mansion and I fly private and I throw tens of millions of dollars at charities every year. That's not we're not talking about that kind of wealth. You don't have to be that wealthy to live a meaningful life and to have time freedom. I have really prioritized time freedom, my lifestyle, how often I work, when I work. I want to be in control of those things. That's what matters to me, not, driving a Lambo and wearing every expensive name brand thing that comes out. Like, that's just, those are the things that just don't matter to me. So again, just perspective, I think, for these things. All right, Karen Cisnero says, how can I invest as a college student? I want to invest some of my earnings. Just not sure which type of videos to watch or how Fidelity even works. I was wondering if you have any advice. Karen, I love this question. I wish that I started asking questions like this when I was your age in college. What I would recommend that you do is just start reading a very, very basic book about investing basics. So maybe something like The Simple Path to Wealth. That's a really good one. Or you might even do Broke Millennial Takes on Investing. These are just intro 101 to investing books. And if you want to just like start so you have some skin in the game, maybe like 10 or $15, You can do that and then start reading and learning, and then you'll have a little bit of skin in the game because now you put 20, 15 bucks. So you're gonna kind of log into your account and keep an eye on it. Then when you feel more comfortable and you've learned more and you have more confidence, you can put in 100, 200, 500. You can come back and put more. But as a college student who has some earned income, you can start with a Roth IRA. And since you're in college, you're probably over 18, so you can open the Roth IRA account on your own. You said you don't really know how Fidelity works. I mean, a lot of people don't necessarily know how it works. You just need to know how to create your account and how to access your account. So, Fidelity is a financial institution and they allow you to purchase investments like stocks, bonds, index funds, mutual funds, exchange traded funds. And you can buy those investments inside of an investment account. You could do this at any brokerage firm: Charles Schwab, Vanguard, E Trade, Fidelity, right? But there's so many. But the few that are really, really great because they're full service, so they offer pretty much every service in the investment space, and they're really low cost, those are going to be Vanguard, Fidelity, and Charles Schwab. So Fidelity is great because it's really easy to use their website, and it makes it super easy for you. You can even pull up the app. I think they have an app called Fidelity Go where you can keep track of your investments in your app. So I would start on the laptop, go to Fidelity if you wanted to choose Fidelity, and just create open an account. Click on open an account to create your account. It's going to say what type of account do you want to open. You can click on retirement account. Then from there, it's going to say what type of retirement account do you want to open. You would click on Roth IRA because you have earned income, you're in college, so you can take a little piece of every paycheck and deposit it into your Roth IRA. So once you open the Roth IRA, then you have to link it to your bank account. Wherever you get direct deposit from your job where you earn income, link it inside of your Roth IRA account so that you can start transferring money from your bank account into the Roth IRA. So, step one, open a Roth IRA with Fidelity if that's where you want to start investing. Step two, link your bank account with your Roth IRA account. And step three, use money that you transfer in there to buy investments. So that last step is where you're going to have to do a little bit of research. Now, most people will say just buy low cost index funds, right? S&P 500 index fund from Fidelity, or a total stock market index fund from Fidelity. These are all great. They're low cost and give you access to 500 or more stocks that are on the US stock exchange, which is amazing. Great, very diversified, which means you have companies from all the sectors: financial sector, real estate sector, technology sector, consumer staples, energy. That's great. You want a lot of companies from different sectors, but if you don't really know which ones to choose yourself, don't spend too much time trying to pick stocks. Just get an index fund because they're already all chosen in that fund. It's kind of like a bundle, a mix of assorted investments rather than you having to pick and choose them one by one by one. So hopefully that was if you just like take that little bite and rewatch it and take notes, you can follow those steps. But again, I would put like maybe 15 or $20 just to start, and then start reading books to teach you really more about investments, to give you more confidence with the vocabulary and with all these things. And then once you feel more comfortable and confident, you can start putting more money in as you grow more confident. Because I do think, like, when you're scared, you don't want to put in 100, $200 because you think if you lose it all, you're going to freak out, which is true. So start small, and then you can always add more as you gain more confidence. All right, let's see. Thanks for sharing this. We love Beyonce. I love Beyonce too, Mark. I love Beyonce too. What's your favorite Beyonce song? I think my favorite Beyonce song is probably, I know it's going to sound weird because it's a little bit of a slower one, but okay, I can't answer just one. So I'm going to say for the slower pace songs, I'm going to say Me, Myself, and I, because hello, we self love. And then in terms of like the hype, excited songs, I think my favorite is Deja Vu. I don't know. I feel like ever since that song came out, I just always love when it plays. It's so like upbeat, like her dancing on the beach for the scene in the video. It's so good. Deja Vu. That's gonna be my favorite upbeat Beyonce song. Okay, if I had my parents apply for a credit card, isn't but my name, I'm a minor, so they're putting a credit card in my name. Can I dispute this? If you did not ask your parents to do this, and your parents did not ask you to let them do this, then technically you can just contact the company that the credit card is added for you as a minor, as an authorized user, and just ask them to remove you. So you don't have to dispute or like try to fight them or anything. Just literally call up the credit card company that has you on file and say, hey, I was an authorized user on my parents' credit card. I would like to be removed from this credit card. I don't want to be on this account anymore. And they will take care of that. They will help you out. You're a customer too now that you're an authorized user. So you can let them know you don't want to be an authorized user anymore. This is a little sad. It happens a lot. I know personally know people this has happened to. Thank goodness it didn't happen to me, only because my parents, they really didn't know. They don't know English. They don't know the financial system here. They didn't have credit cards. But I wouldn't blame your parents if they were in a situation financially where the only thing they could think to do was to open up a credit card in their child's name with their child's social security number. Maybe, you never know what was going on and they needed access to money. Maybe it was for food for you. Maybe it was for the bills to keep you safe and warm and secure. Maybe it was for a new washer dryer to get you, clean clothes for school. We don't know what your parents were going through. So I really don't like, I've seen a lot of content that goes like directly to attack parents. Like, oh yeah, you need to take your parents to court, or you need to call the police, you need to report them to the consumer bureau. And it's like, you don't, like, just have some empathy, right? Like, we're human. You don't know what your parents were going through. So just don't assume the worst. Call the credit card company and just ask them to remove you as an authorized user, and you should be good. I would definitely freeze your credit after you do this, because you shouldn't have your credit just available out there for anybody to like open credit cards in your name. So if you want to apply for another credit card, let's say next year, you can always unfreeze your credit. It takes 2 seconds on their website, and then apply for the credit card. Then once the application goes through, freeze your credit again. Freezing and unfreezing your credit, it's literally like a 10 minute, 15-minute process to freeze it, and like a 1 minute max, 1 minute process to unfreeze it. And you can unfreeze it anytime you want, for a day, for a week, for a month, for 2 months, and then it'll automatically freeze back again. So I would definitely encourage you to freeze it. That way your parents can't do this to you again. Nobody can do this, not, scammers, not other people in your family. Nobody can use your account, like your name, your date of birth, your social security number, to create accounts, credit accounts in your name, because you froze your credit. And when they try to process it, they'll say, nope, there's a credit freeze on this person's account. You can't do this. And the only person who can lift the credit freeze is you, because when you froze your credit, you created a custom special PIN number that you have to use to unfreeze it. So just make sure you don't lose that PIN number. Keep it in a very safe place, because you're going to need it when it's time to unfreeze your account. And honestly, I've frozen and I've recently like lifted the freeze off of my account, not recently, but like a couple years ago, when I moved to Miami, because we had to apply for an apartment that we're renting now. And I didn't even have to bust out the PIN. I didn't even have to use it. Like, all I had to do was log into Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion, three separate logins with my username and password, and click like lift freeze. And then I put in the date that I want them to freeze it again. So you don't even need that PIN. You do create it, but you can still unfreeze your credit even without the PIN, as long as you have your username and password to log into your account with the three credit bureaus. So definitely recommend freezing your credit to avoid this from happening again, and also just to protect yourself in general, because a lot of people create fake accounts, and once there's fraud on your account, it's very annoying to try to get it off. So just prevent it from happening in the first place. That's what I would say. All right. Is she real or is she AI? Why do I keep getting this comment? Do I look like an AI, y'all? Do I sound like an AI? Does the AI talk this fast? Can an AI be like this realistic? I don't know, I guess. I keep getting those comments on my Instagram. Is this you real, or is this AI? Maybe it's a bot. I don't know. Nick Shep, if you're real, let me know you're real, because this AI comment, I feel like it's fake. Okay, Danielle Wilson, thank you for doing these lives. I get confused with the buy low, sell high concept. If you sell when the stocks are high, then unless you wait and have money in cash, you'll buy something else high. Yes, I really personally, me, because I like to buy index funds, which again is like a bundle of an assortment of a lot of different stocks instead of buying one by one by one. I don't pay attention to the buy low, sell high. I just don't care what price. I just keep buying. Like, I just keep on buying. I'll buy more shares of the index fund at any price point. So like in January, if it was $1, I buy a share for $1. In February, it's $2. I buy a share for $2. In March, it's $1 again. I buy another share for $1. In April, it's $5. I buy a share for $5. I don't care that it's so expensive, because I'm just going to keep on buying shares all throughout the year, the years, the decade. I'm just going to keep buying investments, because my whole goal is to accumulate wealth. In order to accumulate wealth, you need to keep buying appreciating assets, and ideally cash flowing appreciating assets. So if you worry so much about trying to buy low, sell high, like, you're playing this game of trying to get lucky and time it with the prices going up and down instead of just committing to a consistent purchasing plan where you're always going to be purchasing shares no matter what the price is up, down, whatever it's doing. It doesn't matter. You just keep buying, keep buying, keep buying. And that has worked for me because I really don't think about my investments that much. I just automatically contribute every time I get a paycheck, every time money comes in, every week automatically just buys more investments. And if I ever need to change my dates or pause it or alter the amount, like put less money or put more money, I can always adjust the automated contribution amount. I can always go in and pause it for a month or whatever I need to do. But I just do it automatically so I don't have to worry about looking at the price. Is it low right now? Is it high right now? Is it a historic low, a historic high? Is it close to the historic high? Is it dipping? Is it higher than it was yesterday? Is it move? What trend am I looking for? Like, if you really enjoy that, fine. I'm not gonna knock you, but I personally don't enjoy that. I enjoy talking to people, networking. I enjoy spending time with my family. I enjoy experiencing Beyonce live in concert. I enjoy live music in general, but not necessarily big, like giant concert venues. I like small, like intimate music experiences. But the point is, I will spend money, a lot of money, on things I really value and love, but I am very clear and very strict about not spending a lot of money on things that I just don't care about, that I just don't value. And one of them is, and also not a lot of time, right? That's the point here. Not spending a lot of time on things that I don't value. And one of them, obviously, here in this case, is I really just don't value chasing the trends in the market. Like, I'm not keeping track of that. I'm not watching it. I don't have a stock watch list. Like, I really don't do that. And to me, that's more active trading. For me, I love passive investing because it's happening in the background while I live my life. And every now and then I come on live, I get to talk to y'all, I get to meet y'all, I get to help y'all, I get to, promote my book and do a lot of, events in person where I get to meet you guys. But I'm not spending all my time obsessed on, looking at the stock watch list and checking the charts and trying to see, like, that's just not, I don't want to spend my time like that. And it's so easy to get addicted to the thrill of constantly chasing the stats. Just like sports betting and gambling, like these are things that it starts off as fun and then all of a sudden you're straight up addicted. So I personally would rather just avoid that whole rabbit hole and just keep myself on a very strict, consistent. Consistency beats intensity every time. Say that again. Consistently adding small amounts of money over long periods of time helps you accumulate wealth without having to obsess and become addicted, you know? Not to say everybody does that, but it is likely that people who become obsessed with watching the stock ticker symbols and the charts and looking at all that, they tend to be a little bit more like a risk of becoming addicted to it rather than people who are passive investors and they just live their life and do things that are meaningful for them and just generate more income so that they can invest more. All right, AJ says, after I max out my Roth IRA every year, do you think buying dividend paying stocks is a taxable brokerage in a taxable brokerage account is a good idea? Because where else can I keep investing? Yes, 100%. AJ, I love that idea. That's what I do. So my first priority is to have a maxed out high yield savings account. And by maxed out, I mean I hit my max goal, which is 6 months of emergency savings. Once I hit that in my high yield savings account, boom, my next step is to max out my Roth IRA at the maximum amount allowed for you to contribute in that year. For 2025, it was 7,000. So I put in 7,000. The next goal I have is to put as much money as I can in my 401k without it hurting me financially. So for this year, I'm maxing out my 401k at $23,500. The next step is if I still have extra money after that. So 6 months of emergency savings plus $7,000 plus $23,500. So we're talking about well over $30,000, $40,000 that has been invested so far. And that's just the first, 6, 7 months of the year. If I still have money to invest, which I usually do, then I go ahead and put it in my regular brokerage account, which is not a tax advantaged account. It's not a retirement account. It's not a special type of account with tax advantages. There's no tax advantages. It's a taxable brokerage account. So, a regular account that will be taxable, just like your earned income is taxable, except capital gains tax on gains in your investment account there's two different types of categories. There's short-term capital gains and long-term capital gains. So if you hold on to your investments in your brokerage account for more than a year, then you will get dropped down to the lower tax brackets in the long-term capital gains tax category. So I would definitely recommend more than a year holding your investments because that's much better. Like, lowering your taxes as a young investor is great. But especially as an older investor, because you probably have even more income, which would mean that your short-term capital gains tax bracket is it gets pretty high because high income earners you have to everybody has to pay their exact same income tax for their income tax brackets as short-term capital gains. But long-term capital gains are much lower. The percentages are smaller. So the whole point here is you want to try to get those lower percentages so you pay less in taxes if you can, so you can keep more of your money and do more good for your community or donate or just reach financial independence quicker. So in order to do that, you have to hold your investments in your brokerage account for the long run, so more than 1 year. But yeah, after you max out your Roth IRA, if you don't have a 401k that you want to contribute to get the match, and you already hit your high yield savings account emergency savings goal, then yes, I would say your brokerage account is the next best bet. But try to make sure you only invest in something if you're going to leave it there for a year or more, so you can get that lower capital gains bracket, which is the long term capital gains tax. I know that's a lot, but rewatch it a couple times because once you master that concept, you'll be like, oh, okay, I get it. So the taxes really do matter when it comes to growing your investments, right? That's a huge piece of it. That's why Roth IRAs are such a big deal and 401ks are such a big deal, because they come with really nice tax advantages, nice tax perks. All right. Nick Shep said, sorry, YouTube just randomly recommended your video based on the view count and your cue and your smart and your speaking style. I just assumed it was AI trying to grow your channel. My bad. Thanks for the compliment that I'm smart and cute. Appreciate it. I'm not AI. I'm real. I just come on live every day and I try to talk about basic financial literacy concepts, helping people understand that we should talk more about money. I don't know why money is always such a taboo in society. It's like people don't want to talk about it, or we're embarrassed or ashamed. And my whole point is going live every day is just encourage us to talk more about money. And yeah, join the community at Miss Be Helpful on YouTube. I'm on Instagram, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Facebook, I'm on all the things. And my book is called Mind Your Money. You could get a copy at mindyourmoneybook.com. Basics of financial literacy, budgeting, banking, credit, investing, all those kinds of topics are covered in that book. So if you want to join, welcome in. All right, I think I have time for like two or three more. So let's see. We have Will Rivera. What's an annuity and should we have one in our financial plan? I personally do not have an annuity in my financial plan at all. And the reason why is because it is an insurance product that is often promoted as an investment product. And I really do not like when insurance products are being promoted and pushed as investments. If you want to get an insurance product, it's because you're trying to protect yourself from something happening. When you're trying to invest, you want an investment product. You are trying to accumulate wealth. Insurance products are not necessarily helping average everyday people accumulate wealth. Okay, if you're already extremely wealthy, then there are some insurance products that can help you be strategic with that wealth that you've already piled up. But that's not something that's available to somebody like me who is not extremely wealthy. We're talking tens of millions. That's not me yet. So I do not look at insurance products being promoted as investments because I want to accumulate wealth. So I focus on investment products. I focus on investments, index funds, exchange traded funds, stocks, real estate, any type of investment products that are actual investments that are cash flowing, appreciating assets. An annuity is not a cash flowing, appreciating asset, it is an insurance product. So I would definitely like consider carefully whether you think that's right for you. And the whole point of an annuity, basically in a nutshell, is that it prevents you from really running out of money. So a lot of people go, well, what about if I keep on maxing out my 401k, if I keep contributing to my 401k, and then I'm in retirement, and then now 10 years go by, 20 years go by, 30 years go by, now I'm maybe I'm 85, 87 years old, and now my 401k is empty, I ran out of money, what am I going to do? So that fear, a lot of people have that fear. An insurance product was created to help you sleep better at night because that fear is now eliminated from your life. Because what you can do is you can buy an annuity or pay into an annuity, which will guarantee you the same amount of money every month until the day you die. So maybe let's say it's $4,000 every month. So then you will make $4,000 every single month from the annuity till the day that you die. So you will never say, oh, I'm going to be at a point where in old age I ran out of money. That wouldn't happen because you would continue to get your payments every month, the same amount. So you know exactly what to expect. Now, me personally, I feel like I can invest, grow my money even more, accumulate my wealth, and manage a plan that allows me to take a small percentage of my wealth every year and manage that myself. I don't have that fear that I'm going to run out of money too soon. But that's because I understand things like asset allocation and risk management or risk tolerance. If you don't know what these things mean or you never heard of these things, this is where I would invite you to start reading some books about money and investments, because those terms are things I had to really understand. What does that mean and how does it look and how does it work, so that I don't feel fear of running out of money too soon. So that is why I don't have an annuity. An annuity might be right for you if that fear is keeping you up at night. If you, that anxiety of, oh my gosh, what if I run out of money, doesn't allow you to just sleep in peace, then I would say it probably is a good idea to get the annuity, because then you're going to actually be able to sleep peacefully at night. But they can come with really high fees. So that's why you got to be really careful, because a lot of times those fees, those premiums, those amounts of payment that you're making every month, it is eating away your opportunity. The opportunity cost is that you could have invested that money instead, and you could have grown that money instead of paying it into a policy that really it's just capitalizing off of your fear of not having enough money, which is rooted in scarcity. So if you learn about investing and wealth accumulation, you can change your mind from looking at things from a scarcity perspective and look at it from an abundance perspective, and then invest your money and grow it, aggressively, instead of being scared that you're not going to have enough money. Now, last thing I'll say, the last caveat is, there are some people who point blank are going to not have enough money. And so for them, it may actually make sense to get an annuity so that they know they sleep at night knowing no matter what, they're going to have that same steady amount of money coming every single month. That, again, if that's your situation, that could be a product that works for you. But you're not making an investment, you're purchasing insurance to protect you against the fear or the problem of running out of money too soon. Same thing with life insurance. I really don't like it when people sell life insurance as an investment. You can invest in it and it will grow your money in the stock market. No, life insurance is an insurance product. It is not an investment. It is an insurance product that will allow you to protect yourself against the fear or the problem of passing away and not having any financial protection for your family or for your dependents, maybe your children or your spouse. If they depend on your income right now and you don't want to pass away and just like leave them nothing, having a life insurance policy lets you sleep at night knowing, if anything were to happen, if I don't wake up tomorrow morning and I die in my sleep, my family, my dependents, they're going to be taken care of because my life insurance will pay them out. So it's not an investment. It is an insurance product that you buy to protect yourself against the fear or the problem that XYZ thing is going to go wrong, that you're going to run out of money before you die, that you're going to die without leaving your family anything financially. Like, these are things that people fear. It keeps us up at night worrying. But what if this happens? Oh no, that's horrible. Then that's when you might want to buy insurance to protect you against that problem or that fear. So that is what I would say about that. All right. Do you like CDs slash certificates of deposit? Yes, I do like CDs, but specifically for goals that you want to freeze the money up for, because you really just don't want to lose it, to spend it, or to, you can't trust yourself. You feel like you're going to take the money out. So if you know that in 18 months you're going to buy a car, then yeah, get a CD and lock up some of that savings that you already have right now, so that you don't, mistakenly spend it on something else like Beyonce tickets or whatever. You won't be tempted to like just take that money out of your savings account and go spend it, because when you put it into a CD, a certificate of deposit, it's frozen. It's locked in there for that time frame, 6 months, 12 months, 18 months. You choose how long you lock it for. But that kind of forces you to not be able to touch that money and take it out. And if you do take it out too soon before it unfreezes, you have to pay extra money. So kind of don't really want to do that. Danielle says, I agree 100%. I just finished your book. Ah, thank you, Danielle. I so appreciate you reading my book. And I realized I'm not diversified at all. Everything is large cap stocks. I was going to sell some LC to buy international. You know what? I don't think there's anything wrong with having all large cap stocks. But if you want to diversify from large cap companies, you can mix in some mid-sized companies and some small cap companies. So mid-sized companies, I mean, there's so many that even you would know the name, like Dunkin' Donuts, right? Classic mid-cap size company, but pretty successful business and business model that has spread a lot in the US. So if you see a Dunkin' Donuts, you recognize it, you know the logo, you know what the business is, but it's not one of those large cap companies that you have in your portfolio already. So you might want to get a mid cap index fund or a mid cap ETF. And then you could do the same thing with small cap. So you could get a small cap ETF or a small cap index fund. Now, if you are going to have some small cap companies, some mid cap companies, and some large cap companies, Well, then in that case, I would just say, why don't you also read up on some of the total stock market indexes out there? Because maybe you just want to own them all, small cap, mid cap, large cap, from all the different sectors, every single US issued stock. Like that could be really easy. And then you just automate that. So, for an example, in my 401k with Vanguard, my entire 401k portfolio, 100% of that money is in Vanguard Total Stock Market Index Fund, VTSAX. And I don't worry that it's not diversified enough because there's 4,000 plus stocks, 4,000 companies in there. Every sector, all the 11 sectors in the stock market are represented. So many different company sizes, small cap, mid cap, large cap, all of the stocks in America are in there. But the one thing I will say that I do suffer from is home country bias. Home country bias means that you're leaning heavily to investments from your home country and you're not looking globally at what else in the world you could be investing in within your portfolio. So for example, I don't have Japanese stocks, I don't have Brazilian stocks, I don't have Chinese stocks, I don't have, any stocks from Europe. All of my stocks are US stock market. So I'm sort of betting that I'm going to accumulate wealth by betting on the US, by betting on the success of corporations or publicly issued stocks in America, right? If I really wanted true diversification, max diversification, then I would have a total world fund. A total world fund would be an index fund that holds, or an ETF that holds every publicly traded stock in the world from every major stock exchange on the globe. So that's something else to consider if you want to do it in an easy way, a total world index fund. Um, but yeah, me personally, I don't really have a big problem with just having US stocks as long as you have thousands and thousands of stocks and not just like 20 in your portfolio. Um, but yeah, I'm so glad you read my book, Danielle. I hope you keep studying and you keep learning more about investing because I wish I did this when I was your age. When I was in college, I wish that's when I started instead of waiting till I was almost 30. All right, Nisha Babe says, not working, but I only have non-taxable income from my VA benefits. I opened a Vanguard brokerage account since I can't fund a Roth IRA. I just did a regular brokerage, buying fractional VTI shares. Is this a good move or should I be doing something else? That's a great move. I love that move. Like you open the brokerage account because you don't qualify for the Roth IRA since you don't have earned income right now, but you do have, a small amount of income coming in from your benefits, or I mean, I don't know if it's small, but you said taxable VA income coming in. So you still do have some money that you can be investing with. And so a fractional VTI shares is great. Um, Anybody who doesn't know, if you don't know what fractional shares are, basically it allows you to buy a little piece of a share. So if you can't afford to buy the whole share, let's say the share is $300 and you don't have it, you could buy $30 worth of it and just buy 1/10 of a share instead. So that just allows you to buy little pieces of stocks and keep accumulating them over time instead of having to buy one whole share, two whole shares, three whole shares at a time. But yeah, Nisha, I think what you're doing is awesome. All right, y'all. I think that's all. I got all the questions on Instagram and on YouTube. Oh my gosh, the comments on Instagram were like, "Yup, biggest scam is cash value life insurance, yada yada yada." I'm not even mad at those comments. Honestly, I've seen a lot of really nasty stuff in there. It's very hard to find a really good quality agent who has your back. Oh, thank you, Alana. Alana says, Yanela, you're such an engaging speaker. Congrats on all your success. I'm so proud. Ever true, Brown. I love that. Alana, I remember you very dearly. You're so sweet. And honestly, you're a badass. You're doing big things too. I've seen your Instagram. So it's not just me. I'm proud to know you. All right. Simon is the last one I'll take, and then I'm gonna wrap up because I need to get some water. Simon says, Simon says, I'm 15 and I have a job. What's the first thing I should do? First thing you should do if you have a job and you're 15 is find an adult that you trust in your life. Maybe that's an older sibling, a parent, an auntie, a cousin. They have to be over 18 years old, and you have to sit with them and have them help you open a custodial Roth IRA. And then once you open your custodial Roth IRA with an adult, you can take a little piece of that job the piece of the paycheck that you make from your job that you have, whether that's $10, $20, $50, and you can start investing it into your Roth IRA account. You can open that Roth IRA account, the custodial Roth IRA, with any brokerage, but the top three that I always recommend are Vanguard, Schwab, and Fidelity. Choose one of those. Have the adult that you trust sit with you, go to their website, create your custodial Roth IRA account. And then once it's open, link it to your bank account and start transferring some of that money you make from your job into that Roth IRA account. And that way you can start typing into the search what investments you want to buy. You can buy individual stocks, like you can buy Apple stock, Nike stock, Johnson and Johnson stock. You can buy whatever stocks, but I always like and suggest and recommend index funds or ETFs because they allow you to buy hundreds or thousands of stocks with just one purchase for a very low price. So 15 years old, amazing. I wish I started when I was 15. So if you just start thinking, who is the adult that I trust? Is mom? Is it dad? Is it my uncle? Who's going to be able to, it's my godmother? Like who's going to be able to sit with me at the laptop and help me open my custodial Roth IRA, transfer money from my bank account in here, and actually start buying my first ETF or my first index fund? All right, when's my next live? Vero wants to know. I'll be live again tomorrow. I'm gonna try to do it at like 6:30 or 7 p.m. Eastern time when I'm gonna be here at my parents' house because I'm staying here for 4th of July. So I'm pretty much gonna do this exact same setup. I'm gonna do like after I have dinner with my mom and dad. So like 6:30 or 7 p.m. Eastern. So bring your questions. If you have a question that you didn't get to answer or that I didn't get to in the chat, put it in my DMs on Instagram or comment below a video on my YouTube channel and I'll pull them up over the next day so I can answer them tomorrow on live. Or you could just come back live and pop it into the chat again, and I'll see if I see it tomorrow, then we can answer it live. But yeah, I see Jordan asked about 529 accounts, so we'll talk about that tomorrow as well. I think that's a good option, but mostly for the parents, not for like a 15-year-old to start funding it themselves. But we can talk about why. But yeah, thanks everybody for joining, and I will see y'all tomorrow. I'll be on live again around dinner time, East Coast time, so 6:37 Eastern. And thanks for joining, y'all. Bye.